Alright, gonna go. Careful, you see those guys that are stuck?
Yeah, because they stopped on an incline.
Okay, wait, hold on. Actually, see there's a bowl right here. Alright, we gotta plan this out. We possibly might need to make a U-turn.
Okay, or just go left. No, you're right.
So, we actually have to go straight up this thing. It looks steeper than I remember. Let me try first.
Copy. John, turn around or?
It actually looks more steep than last time I was here. I'm kind of worried. So I think turn around. I'm gonna turn around. So stand by. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of John Daisy Adventuring. In this episode, I give you tips on how to drive on beach sand and to go up sandy hills, sometimes known as sand dunes. But before we do all that, we need to air down. Okay, here's the entrance to the Oceano Dunes. This is the only beach in California that you could actually drive on the beach. Yeah, my tires are at 40 PSI right now. And now it's time to air down to 15. 15 is the standard for driving on sand. When driving on soft sand, airing down will be the single biggest preparation. The sand is a much less dense surface, so you're going to need to soften up your tires so that you can stay on top of the sand. 15 PSI is the standard. Don't go 16, don't go 17, drop down to 15. This was the advice given to me during my first trip to Pismo Beach. I actually experimented at 17 PSI, and those 2 PSI made a difference. In some cases, you'll need to drop even lower to get yourself unstuck. But don't drop too low, otherwise you risk de-beating your tire. This is where the tire comes off of your wheel. To be safe, you probably don't want to go below 12 PSI. FYI, I'm no expert, but the good thing is, this information is common knowledge. It's not rocket science. I like to air down using a combination of self-deflating air valves and my $5 Slime tire pressure gauge with relief valve. Pressing on the relief valve releases air. Another really important preparation is to turn off traction control. Traction control will cut power to any wheel that starts slipping. You actually need your wheels to slip to maintain momentum. The surface close to the water is more dense and it's easier to drive on, but make sure you don't get caught up in the high tide. Every year, multiple vehicles get swallowed up by the ocean. If you have a Honda Passport, to check your tire pressure, first of all, hit menu, go to maintenance, and then tire pressure. So all four are at 17 psi. The reason these tires are at 17 psi is because they're moving, and when they move, they heat up. So if I was at a stop, they would drop to 15 psi. Since the Oceano Dunes in Pismo Beach is a off-highway vehicle area, we are required to attach a flag to our vehicles. All right, here we go.
Got our flags on.
Yep.
You gotta surrender the booty on mine.
Surrender the booty. And I got my, it's 5 o'clock somewhere with a parrot. Toucan Sam.
But my pole matches. Well, I figured I could use it for like a 4th of July too.
Okay.
So not just one timer.
We are now ready to enter the Oceano Dunes. My first tip for driving on soft sand is to take it slow. You have to get familiar with how your vehicle reacts to bumps. Like that. Next, you'll want to maintain momentum, especially if you're going uphill. If you have a part-time reactive all-wheel drive system, then you will probably want to refrain from stopping on an uphill climb. If you have four-wheel drive or a full-time all-wheel drive system, then you're good. Okay, we are at the dunes. It's over there, but we are going to head over here. I think this is kind of like the rougher section, all around that area. Okay, now it's time to climb some sand dunes. Yeah, that's where I actually want to go. All right, so Mario bogged down. This is where you'll actually need to use momentum because it's kind of a steep climb. All right, Mario, go for it, man. Mario's Outlander GT did very well, and I think the reason for that is it has a traditional automatic transmission. Nowadays, a lot of companies are going with the CVT. I'm not going to say that CVTs are terrible, but I do give a mechanical advantage to a traditional automatic transmission. If you are going to attempt the unfamiliar, like driving on a sand dune for your first time, definitely do it with friends around. All right, Blue, you're done. Back up, go into second gear, lock yourself into second gear once you get that speed going. When climbing a sand dune, you'll want to go in with momentum. You'll want to keep your RPMs high to stay in the torque band.
I think I accidentally had X mode on.
Oh yeah, definitely do not want X mode on, and I know you run with traction control off. That's good. Just X mode off for sure.
I think I'm getting enough momentum.
Yeah, I don't think you have enough momentum, man. No. Oh, yeah, it's not gonna. Oh, you're going sideways. Nice. That looks fun.
Fourth.
Rolling.
Just watch out for the upcoming.
So what I do to make it look steep, I just leave it right there, and I don't follow him. I don't center him. I just leave it right there, and then it shows him climbing that steep grade. So if you could do that.
Yep.
Now for my Honda Passport's turn. I decided to turn around to see if my Honda Passport can make it up from the midpoint of the hill all the way to the top.
Ooh, a little sideways.
That turn really killed my momentum, but let's see if I can power out of it. Alright, my engine was humming at 4,000 RPMs. So, this is my second trip out to Pismo Beach. I did not repeat the mistakes I made in my first trip. So, let me show you what not to do. Make sure you're familiar with your vehicle's capabilities. I actually knew about my 2015 Forester XT's poor reverse 9.6 crawl ratio. I figured that because it had a more powerful engine, it would compensate. I was wrong.
What do we do, Lewis?
I would go back.
Go backwards, alright. Lewis! I'm not sure if I can back up here.
My Forester XT was unable to back up a little sand bump. But since you can't see that little sand bump, let me show you another example.
Right here's the test.
Right there. Oh,
Forward,
Go forward, you got it, man.
a little bit forward.
Come on, CVT! Yeah! Oh, come on! Back up on that log, CVT. You can do it. So there's there's two of them, by the way. I actually couldn't see the one in front. So as you can see, the reverse crawl ratio really sucks. So if you're on a sand dune with a vehicle that has a poor reverse crawl ratio, then you can only drive forward. You can't really drive backwards. That's scary. So this is exactly what I was forced to do. I had to go forward. I had to drive through a narrow passage that I felt very uncomfortable doing. Here's the next tip. Make sure you maintain that momentum. When I saw that gigantic bowl to my left, I panicked and I slowed down. That was a big mistake. Knowing what I know now, I would have used more momentum and I would have hugged the right side. It would require me to drive a little uphill, but I would have just kind of straddled that line. Unfortunately, I was too close to the bowl to my left, and I was sucked in. This put my Subaru in danger of rolling over and tumbling down. But luckily, I had some really good help. My instinct was to drive down into the bowl and use enough momentum to get up and out of there. Luckily, it worked. Yeah,
got some bounce too.
Bit of a drop right here. This would be the steepest line. Gets a little easier as you go out that way. And now it's the moment of truth. Can my friend Channing redeem himself? Yeah! Woo! This concludes our trip to Pismo Beach. We actually only spent 1 hour here. From there, we would drive up the iconic Highway 1. We made our way over to Big Sur for a 3-night, 4-day overlanding trip. The views were absolutely spectacular, so I'm really excited to share this trip with you guys. However, that will have to wait until next episode, so if you haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next adventure.
Oh yeah, the monster of the sea, baby. Where's my mermaid?